This is Scott Vanderplu, and you're listening to the Artist Edition Index Podcast, episode 82.
I went down to the St. James Infirmary, found my baby there, stretched out on a long white table, so sweet, so cold, so fast.
Welcome back once more to All Things AE, where we discuss what is happening on aeindex.org and on social media and YouTube and wherever else AE Index can be found. It's October 1st, so I'm recording the new podcast discussing what happened in September. Let's take a look at what happened in September. Looks like keeping my schedule of true reviews. That's nice. I've got 2 solicitation posts. I've got the poll. I've got out of print sales. And I have an early IDW house ad, which I thought was interesting. All right, that's what we got planned for this episode. Let's get right into it with the poll. Another poll provided by Alex Sheikman from the forum, which is awesome. Thanks, Alex. He gave me a bunch of ideas. I think we've used a couple now. I may have one more from Alex coming. This month was when some artists achieve name recognition, they try to get away from the monthly grind of comics and focus their creative energies on drawing covers. They are so successful with this that they sometimes produce multiple covers every month. Which collection of color covers only would you be interested in? Arthur Adams, Michael Cho, Dave Johnson, Michael Kaluta, and Alex Ross. I will say that I swapped out somebody from Alex and added Michael Cho because he is one of my favorite Canadian cartoonists, artists, and I like the covers that he was done in the past. I used to have a large Michael Cho original art collection, but when I sold all my original art, all that's gone. I just have one Daredevil piece left. And then the other ones, I think, speak for themselves. I voted Michael Kaluta for this, and it's nice to see that somebody I voted for actually is winning the poll. That almost never happens. I'm always voting for somebody way down on the list. Michael Kaluta is winning with 46 votes. After that, followed by Arthur Adams, who I expected to take this away. Alex Ross at 29. 10 votes for Dave Johnson. Michael Cho at 9. So I think those results are pretty great. I think there's been a little chatter about, is Michael Kaluta a cover artist? I mean, he's produced some amazing covers. He's produced some amazing art, and it's a bit of a limited amount of material. So he had a good run with DC for a while as a cover artist. So I think that would be amazing to see. We need more Kaluta work. That I keep having my fingers crossed now that IDW has this DC license again, and they've previously worked with Edgar Rice Burroughs and got all the DC Tarzans. I'd love to see a Carson of Venus, the Kaluta work. I think I mentioned that before, but that's so exciting. Love to see that. That's the poll. I dropped the art. I used to do the poll and I'd have 3 samples of each artist's art. And then I realized I'm just putting these images up on my site and they're not part of an AE. They're for the poll. And I thought, you know what? People are taking my poll. They already know the artist, I think. If they don't know the work, what I may do instead of posting the art is I'll just put a link to Heritage, which is where I was getting most of the art from anyways. And people can just take a look at the art samples there. I mean, I don't see my voting numbers going down because I don't have the art. I always am surprised at the number of votes we get here. At least for over 100 now. I mean, for a long time, voting was really low, and I don't quite understand it. I post it on everywhere I can on social media. Speaking of that and me going in circles here, I am posting to Threads, all right, from the spin-off from Facebook and Instagram. I guess it's Instagram. I'm still posting on X, even though I think it's a dumpster fire. I'm not following anybody on X anymore. I'm just strictly posting on it. Facebook still, I guess it's my age. I'm still posting on Facebook, and I follow a bunch of groups and things on Facebook. But all right, that's the poll for this month. Pretty great. Let's talk about this house ad, which it's interesting. So I'm helping out a friend at a comic shop, and been doing their web stuff and doing other things. And this may be moving into something new in January, but for now I'm just helping out there. But looking at an old Godzilla comic from 2012, and on the back cover is this ad for the definitive Lord Greystoke! And it's got a picture of the AE, Joe Kubert's Tarzan of the Apes Artist Edition. It's got the cover on an angle there. Shows the thickness of the book, which is interesting. And it says, celebrate the 100th anniversary of Edgar Rice Burroughs' most enduring creation, Tarzan of the Apes. Joe Kubert's Tarzan of the Apes, hyphen, Artist Edition. And I forgot that all these titles always had a hyphen in them. Or a colon. It was very strange how they tried to separate Artist Edition from the rest of the title. Like it was something to be separated and not part of what it is. Anyway, Joe Kubert is one of the most acclaimed comic artists ever. This Artist Edition, not Artists Edition, it's an Artist Edition, collects 6 complete stories by Kubert, including the 4-part classic Tarzan of the Apes, the defining story of young Lord Greystoke, being orphaned in the African jungle and adapted by the she-ape Kala, and growing to manhood to become Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle. It says, and then there's this really weird quote on the page. The art books you're putting out are amazingly good. Mike Mignola to editor Scott Dunbier. And then it says September 2012. B&W, 152 pages, 12 inches by 17 inches. It gives the ISBN and gives a website, idwpublishing.com. It doesn't mention the price because in those days, price was never mentioned with these books. IDW was doing PI or Please Inquire in the Diamond catalogs, and they were doing a set price, a net price. So then retailers, there was never price on these books. So I think the cost on this book was, I forget, $70, something like that. I don't know. So there was, I'm doing the backstory here, but there was no cover price on these. So in Canada, like I had started ordering these books, and our standard retail model for comics was you made 100 points. So the comic came in, it was $2. You sold it for $4. That's pretty well how comics went. So these books, they had a set price from Diamond, net price. Then the retailer generally doubled them, and because there was no price on these. But then IDW was selling them on their website, so now you've actually got a price as being determined by the publisher on their site to sell direct to consumers, yet no price on the product. So if that all sounds confusing, it's because it is. I'm going to take a look at my Tarzan here. I think I got it in front of me. We'll look. Here we go. There we go. Left the microphone, always a bad sign. Let's see. So in the ISBN, it lists the ISBN and then it lists 900000, which generally means it was they're stating the cost is $90. Yes, I'm looking at the book. There's absolutely no price on it. Not a thing. I think nothing. Looking at the sticker, there is nothing. Generally, these went for... This is actually back when the Canadian dollar's on par, too. I think these sold for $125. So, there you go. So, interesting. Interesting ad. On the post there, I mentioned a couple of things. The things that struck out with me, of course, is it's referred to as an artist edition, not an artist's edition. And, of course, no price. And this bizarre quote from Mike Mignola to editor Scott Timber. So, are you telling me there was absolutely no positive press on these books by September 2012? So, 2 years after the first one, Rocketeer, had come out? Pretty sure they'd garnered press. They had won Eisner Awards, that kind of thing. So, there should have been something to say about the book other than a quote from a creator to an editor. Anyway, maybe that actually represented the amount of press coverage it was getting. If you look at the site, I've got a page that covers all press coverage. What's it called? It's called AE Resources, and on there I talk about. I've got interviews with people. I used to have reviews. I dropped that. I had links to all reviews of any AE format book on various sites, and I realized I don't need to point people at other sites. I actually want them to come to my site and stay on my site, so there's not much point. And the reviews weren't ever that great. Not like I'm the gold standard, but generally reviews in those days, they just talked about what the book was because nobody heard of an artist edition. Nobody had seen original art printed at full size. So, and all the reviews never included pictures. This is actually why I started the page on Comic Book Daily and the reviews on Comic Book Daily, because I thought, who's going to spend $100, the first books, and then quickly went to $125? Who's going to spend $125 or $150, or now we're $200 or more, right, for a book, and there's no pictures? Nobody was doing video reviews at the time. There was just you had no clue of what was in this book. All right, rant completed. Thank you for staying and hanging in there with me. All right, anyways, interesting ad. I may start featuring some ads when I run across them. I know DC has run Graffiti Designs ads over the years. I've seen them. I never really paid much attention to them. So I don't know. When I come across an oddity like this or a rarity, I will post about it. And like I said, please explore the site. All right. Let's talk shipping changes, because it's been heavy activity on the shipping changes. First off, we were all thrilled about Kilisu DeConnick and Emerios Pretty Deadly, Volume 1, the Shrike Vault Edition, solicited in September for shipping in November. Amazing, I thought to myself. And then the reality is set in, and the date is now moved to March 20th, 2024. So I guess we should have seen that coming. Bill Sienkiewicz's Mutants and Moon Knights and Assassins Artisan Edition has been moved to October 24th. The 2080 art of Kevin O'Neill finally got a new date, and that was November 8th. John Byrne's X-Men Arts Edition, the new printing of the Artifact Edition, that's been moved to December 12th. John Romita's Amazing Spider-Man, the Daily Strips, has been moved to December 26th. And some good news on that book. I will actually have a review up the week before it's released in print. So I'm finally going to get a review up before the book ships so that people can be excited for shipping day or before that and get an order in. So this is a record for me. Very exciting. Bill Ward, the Fantagraphic Studio Edition, has been moved to January 31st. And that's all the shipping changes. All right, let's talk. Pretty exciting. Let's talk solicitations. 2 solicitations this month. Or 3, sorry, whoa. Got that wrong. Let's start with the one that interests me the most. Apologize to the other 2. David Wright's Carol Day Jack Slingsby. This is the love-hate relationship I have with this book and the publishers, Slingsby Bros Ink. Because yet again, they're going to produce this book of amazing David Wright art with Carol Day strips. At full size, gorgeous, but they're going to follow the same format they followed before. They're going to cut the edges of the art off, which nobody cares about because there's no notes. And then they're going to produce a 250-pound book because it's only being offered from England. And it's going to be 50-pound shipping. So if you'd like this book shipped to North America, it's 299 pounds, which is about 350 US, about 500 Canadian. If I sound bitter, it's because I am, because they're doing, let me read the solicitation. In Jack Slingsby, we reprint the complete story from the original art in the full size of the originals, a large 15 by 5¼ inches. Our goal is to give readers an experience as close to possible as viewing the original art, and to provide a definitive presentation as Wright and his art deserve of one of David Wright's very best stories. Jack Slingsby is a companion volume to our first Carol Day book, Lance Hallam. As such, in addition to presenting the complete story art, we also include an extensive critical essay and scans of the complete artboards. Carol Day's Jack Slingsby reprints the Jack Slingsby story from the original David Wright in the original size. 115 strips, which ran from Tuesday 23rd of June 64 to Tuesday 2nd of November 64, along with an extensive critical essay by Chris Kalaki. Cover illustration by Brian Bolland, frontispiece by David Roach, and interior artwork by Maestro David Wright. Limited to pre-ordered copies only. Printed on acid-free paper, approximately 125 pages. Quarter bound with a cloth spine, colored headbands with ribbon marker, hot foil stamping on the spine. Cover by Brian Bolland, frontispiece by David Roach. Contents: forward, the Jack Slingsby art. Jack Slingsby, a sequential art masterpiece by Chris Kalaki. The Jack Slingsby artboards and acknowledgments. So, David writes, Carol Day, Jack Slingsby will only be available to prepaid orders. All of our distribution will be through the Book Palace in London, who will be taking pre-orders only until 15th November 2023. At this time, no more orders will be taken, and we will set the print run, which will be strictly limited to pre-orders plus a small number of copies for ourselves. The book will only be offered through the Book Palace and will not be offered through the Slingsby Bros eBay store. This title is only available on a pre-order basis, and no more orders will be taken after the date. So, yeah. £249, £50 shipping to Canada and the US. So, again, I love the material. Do we need them to crop the art slightly by taking the borders off and then wasting pages of printing the full-size art, the full art page shrunk just so we can actually see there's no margin notes and don't care? And then, of course, we've got the essay, which I don't know, is it going to be 20, 30 pages again? Thankfully, we don't have just wasted pages on artist interpretation of David Wright's characters in modern times. And then the acknowledgments. Oh my goodness. Why do they want to make this book as expensive as possible while providing a quarter of the book with the material we want? I don't know. I know I'm... it's like I said, love-hate is the only way I can describe this. I want the material. I don't want to pay for all this extra. And there's no way to get it otherwise. When you search for Carol Day, Jack Lance Hallam, for this book, I'm the first hit on Google. I seem to be the only full review on a website. I wish I had some influence. You know what I really wish? I wish I'd get a free copy, to be honest. But, I can't expect that to happen. So I'm going to get this book because I love David Wright and I love Carol Day. And I'm probably going to say the same things I said about the previous book. Love the original art pages. Don't love the rest of the book. Why is it so expensive? But wait and see. Maybe I'll be shocked and surprised. All right. The next solicitation. Another foreign solicitation. This is the Den Edition Brute. And here's my Google Translate with some of my copy editing there. We've obtained the agreement of the rights holders to offer you a raw edition that you can also order during this campaign. In large format, 28 centimeters by 37.5 centimeters. This will be a limited edition of 550 copies, offering the most discerning fans the chance to discover the original Den plates in their raw state, with a minimum of apparent restoration only lettered in French, so that they can appreciate Richard Corbin's work at first hand. These plates are mostly in black and white with a limited number in direct color. They will all be printed in full color so that you can appreciate all the subtleties of the author's work and retouching, as well as the textures and materials used. The book will be supplied in an individual protected box, and 500 copies will be offered as part of this campaign. The raw edition contains a story of Den Neverwhere with all the original pages, black and white in colors. Artist Ed style, not Artist Edition style, I don't know what the deal is, with French lettering. We should hopefully receive them in November, December, depending on the printer's availability. So this is from Delirium. It's being offered on KissKissBankBank, which is a crowdsourcing platform. It's 150 euros. And then again, 28 by 37.5 centimeters is 11 inches by 14 and 3/4 inches. It's 120 pages, a hardcover. Apparently Corbin's art was done on artboards with the word balloons there, but no words in them. So Jose Villaruba has been scanning original art and for the new Dark Horse editions, and I look at this and I have to wonder to myself, will we see a Dark Horse version of this book as a gallery edition of Richard Corman art, or do I order this book in French and just admire the art? Because it's me, I'm probably going to order the book in French and admire it. I do like to use PayPal for foreign orders, and it doesn't seem like I'm going to have the opportunity to do that this time because PayPal does not allow funding of crowdsourcing projects. So what can we do? All right, so that's pretty interesting. One last solicitation, and this appeared on the PRH website, and it is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Layouts by Kevin Eastman, Artist Edition. An Artist Edition featuring the groundbreaking origins of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series by the legendary team of Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. This is an art book, not a traditional collection of comic books, featuring rare and beautiful imagery, a collection for connoisseurs of the form. This collection is a celebration of the earth-shaking art that landed the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a place in comic book history. Included in this comprehensive artist edition are more than 300 layouts from Kevin Eastman's earliest Mirage issues. See Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael, and Leonardo as the artist originally imagined them before moving on to the finished art. This is a rare opportunity to see the creative process and the earliest imaginings of one of the most popular franchises ever created. So this is landscape format, and it's 18 by 12. It's 200 pages. It's 150 US. It's already on discount on Amazon.com if you're interested. Checking that out. What's it currently at now? It's pre-order. Oh no, it's actually no. It was discounted. Now it's not. All right. So check my moves. It's that's what it is discounted. It's 138.12. So that's a little bit of a discount. All right. I don't know about this. I mean, I'm going to get it because it's what I do. I have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Artisan Edition. I can't say I've ever been a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't really like the finished art. I guess we'll see what the layouts look like. All right. That's Solicitation. Let's talk out-of-print sales for this month. It's been an interesting ride on eBay, I got to say. Let's start off with something exciting. 2 price-breaking amounts on my record chart, the highest chart at the bottom. Best of EC Comics Volume 1 Artist Edition, a copy sold for $599. So I can't quite understand why my copy at $325, I think, or $300 on the store isn't selling, but I'll leave that there. And then Judge Dredd by Brian Bolland Apex Edition, a copy sold for $459.99. So that's wowzers. That book is really moving up the charts. All right, now let's look at our normal monthly sales. Alien, the Illustrated Story. 3 copies sold for an average of $153.32. 2 copies of Basil Wolverton's Weird Worlds, averaging $200. We don't see a lot of movement on that book normally. 1 copy of Bernie Wright's an Artifact Edition, first print, $165. 2 copies of the second print, averaging $174.99. That seems to be that California seller. Let's see. Best of EC, Volume 1. 2 copies sold for an average of $497. 1 copy sold of Conan Red Nails for $260. 1 copy of Dave Cockrum's X-Men for $141.99. 2 copies of Dave Gibbons' Watchmen Artifact Edition, averaging $113. 1 copy of David Mazzucchelli's Daredevil Born Again for $375. What have I got? I got my copy on the store for $350. 1 copy of ElfQuest for $114.88. That's pretty good. 1 copy of Frank Cho's Savage Wolverine for $300. This one's bumped. That's certainly started to rise out of nowhere, but I guess it is 5 years old. Frank Cho continues to be quite popular. 1 copy of Gil Kane's Amazing Spider-Man for $99.99. 1 copy of Jack Davis's EC Stories for $270. 1 copy of Jack Kirby's Fantastic Four for $199.99. 2 copies of Jack Kirby's Marvel Heroes and Monsters for $212.50 average. 3 copies of Jim Lee DC Legends, averaging $126.65. 2 copies of Joe Kubert's Tarzan the Apes, averaging $99.48. Amazing book. 1 copy of John Byrne's Marvel Classics for $72. 1 copy of John Byrne's X-Men Artifact Edition for $350. It's actually starting to come down a bit. Maybe because of the impending Artist Edition. 1 copy of John Romita's Amazing Spider-Man Artist Edition Volume 2 for $191.99. 1 copy of Judge Dredd for $459. 3 copies of Lone Wolf and Cub, averaging $129.63. Like I said, I don't know if that's a new printing or if it's just found copies, but that continues to come down. 1 copy of Mark Schultz's Xenozoic Tales for $275. 1 copy of Marvel Covers Artist Edition second print, which I can't even remember the last time I actually charted a copy of this selling, $199.95. 2 copies of Mike Mignola, Hellboy and Hal and Other Stories, first print, $290 average. 1 copy of Mike Mignola's Amazing Screw-On Head and Other Curious Objects for $129.99. 1 copy of Ross Andrews' Amazing Spider-Man for $134.99. 2 copies of Sergio Aragona's Gru the Wanderer, averaging $175. 3 copies of Spawn Vault Edition 2, averaging $324.31. That book, man, those 2 Spawn Vault editions still well above their cover price. 3 copies of Star Wars Artifact Edition, averaging $92.98. 1 copy of The Prisoner for $94.09. 3 copies of Usagi Jimbo Samurai and Other Stories, averaging $182.23. So first off, I'm surprised 3 copies come from market, and I'm actually surprised at that low price. 5 copies of Walter Simonson's Star Wars Artist Edition, averaging $133.61. 1 copy of Walter Simonson's The Mighty Thor first print for $135. 1 copy of the second print for $189.95. I don't know. And then 2 copies of Will Eisner's The Spirit Artist Edition, $272.50. No copies of Will Eisner's A Contract with God Curators Collection sold. I see them for sale, and I see the price on eBay has jumped because I also saw a French auction of that. I think that book sold for a little under 500 euros. So it's got some legs. People love Will Eisner. That's a book to watch for, I think, in the aftermarket. I think we're seeing very few copies sell, and we're seeing those prices really go up. So I don't know what's causing the price to go up, since, offerings on eBay should reflect previous sales, but what can you do? All right. 2 reviews this month. Before I get there, I've got to do the website plug. 3 ways to support the site. The first way, the way I would recommend, is using the affiliate links. Click on an Amazon link I've got. Click on a Things from Another World link I've got. Click on an A-Books link. Click on the eBay links. All those links net me some return on your purchase. So I'd love to get that, because I'm helping you out and you're helping me out. That's wonderful. Using the store and buying a book. Maybe that's even better than using the affiliate links, but I try and keep the shipping as cheap as possible. I've got these books. I'm trying to price them at market value or less, i.e. what I see for them on eBay. That's a great way to help me out. That's very much appreciated. And the third way is being a supporter on Patreon. You don't get much in return for that, other than a way for you to say, hey, I like what you're doing with the Artist Edition Index. Here's my support. I did do an exclusive post recently about some news. That's sort of the way I'm going with now. That house ad, I thought about doing that on Patreon and not doing it on the website, but thought I wouldn't do that. So basically, Patreon patrons are getting my news scoops. I did an interview with Scott Dunbier at Baltimore Comic Con earlier in September. I recorded the panel, and the sound was the sound was terrible, and so I just ended up posting the highlights of that his panel, and then I did this nice long interview with Scott, and I got lots of good material in that interview. It's over a little over an hour, but we did it in the hotel restaurant, and the background noise and everything is so loud. It's taking me 30 minutes to an hour to transcribe 5 minutes of audio, just because it's so hard to hear things. So I wanted to post just the interview as an audio interview, and that is not working at all. And it's really taking me a long time to get the transcription out there. So I do plan to have that transcription available, I'm hoping, in October. So the Baltimore was fun. It was great to sit with Scott, and just a nice experience. I think in the future, the Zoom meetings work great with people. Definitely the way to get face-to-face over them, right? Record it. It's in a quiet space normally. It's probably the way to go in the future, but it was nice to meet face-to-face. Very nice. Okay, 2 reviews this month. Il Ragazzo Rapito Art Edition. So it is actually called an art edition on the cover. And this is Hugo Pratt, and it is Kidnapped. A great classic of adventure novels meets the unique art of Hugo Pratt in a special limited edition of only 450 copies. Robert Louis Stevenson's Kidnapped returns to enchant readers in magnificent comic book adaptation by the undisputed father of drawn literature. This is produced by Lo Scarabeo. In June 2019, this book was released. It is 12 inches by 16 inches, or 30 by 41 centimeters. It's 80 pages. It's a hardcover with a textured cover. Really nice. 75 euros. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it from Lo Scarabeo. I ordered this and a bunch of other books from Lo Scarabeo because I think at 300 euros, they do free shipping worldwide. So that blew my mind. And I got my copy. I think last month I posted a review of a book. That other Hugo Pratt book. I'm already drawing a blank. Sergeant Kirk and the Origins of Corto Maltese. That had a different cover. This book and the Yeah, this book and the other book I have this nice texture. So it's interesting. I think great stuff. I really like it. And then this is different. Again, this European model, which I don't quite understand. We've got the original art on the right side. And then if you flip the page over, it's the color guide for that art on the other page. And I don't understand. Like flipping, I get it. This is representing the art as it would be, maybe front and back. But I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. I mean, these color guides are very simple. Half the book is just a blue color. They just only use blue, and then the other half of the book they used, the 4-color process. So this ran as chapters in a magazine, and it really presents well. But you can Pratt's art isn't always highly detailed, I have to say. Let's put it that way. He for this kind of thing, he really did draw for the color. And you can see some examples of the colored work in the book in the introduction, which is wonderful. Lo Scarabeo really does a great job. They really impressed me with the 3 books, the AE format books that they put out. There's only those 3 available on their website. They did 2 other books of Diabolique, but they're like 6x9. They were illustrated comics, and I guess the art was done at that small size. Now, I did order those 2 as well, so expect those coming up in the future. But, Pratt's art, like I said, he was drawing for color. He doesn't use, it's almost like he uses he's just using a pen. When he's doing shadows, he's just like a lot of line work. Not paint, not a brush. It's just, like strictly like a pen. Which is I love Hugo Pratt. Check out the review. It's pretty great, I have to say. Really impressed with Lo Scarabeo. Did a video, of course, the month before. The video's been up on the YouTube site. So, and I said coming soon for the review, so here's the review. And, check it out for sure. And the other review this month was Shift Presents Brian Bolland's The Actress and the Bishop. This special edition is produced with Brian Bolland and features all of Brian's amazing The Actress and the Bishop strips to date in glorious black and white in the standard big shift size, so you can see the masterful line work in all its detail. All parts so far here, first featuring in The Actress and the Bishop Go Boating and Throw a Party in issues 1 and 3 of A1, respectively, and The Thing in the Shed from Bolland strips. We also have Go to the Seaside in print here, and in Color and Shift Volume 2, Issue 5 for the first time. Rounding off with 2 unprinted prose stories with new spot illustrations from Brian, Go Shopping and Take Up Sport, plus pinups, covers, and an interview. Now also featuring recently discovered pencil preliminary pages from The Thing in the Shed. So this is Shift Presents. It's a British magazine. It's 7.6 inches by 11.7 inches, 71 pages. It's soft cover. It's $12.99 US or $14.99 Canadian, I'm pretty sure. Let me look at my copy. I don't remember already. I think it was $14.99. Maybe it was $15.99. I think $15.99 sounds better. Closer. I'm sorry, not better. I had looked at this on the Shift side and thought, man, I don't want to pay shipping for this. Even though I love Brian Bolland, I love The Actress and the Bishop. I remember I got that A1. I loved it, that anthology. And I love The Actress and the Bishop stuff. And then I forget where I'm looking at something and I see it's on Amazon. I'm like, oh, hey, great. And it's pretty cheap. I'm like, oh, all right. I'll order from Amazon Canada. I get it. I'm flipping through it. I get to the last page. It says it's printed by Amazon, basically in Bolton, Ontario, which means I know it's a print order then. And unfortunately, my first copy arrived in an envelope. It was all beat up. It was terrible. So I contacted Amazon, and they actually, it's interesting with their print-on-demand stuff. In Canada, anyways, if your copy's damaged, they say, do you want to keep it instead of getting a replacement? And then they'll refund you. So I could have had the book for free. But being my, book-minded, I thought, no, I need a pristine copy. So I got another copy, and then I realized I really didn't need another copy. I should have just taken this one for free. Anywho, we're here, one, because Brian Bolland's awesome, and you should read this material anyways. Really nice. But it's because that last line from the description, it features preliminary pencil pages from The Thing in the Shed. So we get 18 pages of Brian Bolland layouts. which I think are presented here in full size, and the detail is great. It's so interesting to see Bolland working on his preliminaries, because he's mostly a digital artist, right? So I don't know, does he do most of his stories like this? Because he's actually puts a lot of detail in these preliminaries. And I see he was very careful to always include the actress's nipples in all the scenes where she is naked. There's a lot of naked running back and forth to the shed for some reason in this story. That's here nor there. I was actually mostly impressed that he actually drew out the whole logo of the actress and the bishop on this page. It's a lot of work. And the pages are just, the scans are great because it's just, whatever this paper is, it's nothing great. You see the bumps and the wrinkles and the folds in the paper, and who knows where he's had this stored. And it's so interesting to see Bolland's process here. Real treasure. And for this price, I mean, come on, pick it up. I don't know if I talked about it last month, but I'm doing a slideshow at the top of every review now. So I've got the blurb, and then right away I've got a slideshow of all the images in my post, so you can just slide through them, clickety-click, or you can scroll down and get the images as I normally. It's still the same presentation. I just added a slideshow, and I think I went back and did half of my reviews, so all the earlier reviews still don't have the slideshow, but I'm warming up to it more and more, and I mean it's easy enough to include in the new reviews, so that's what I've been doing. All right, that wraps it up for this month. Thanks for joining me again. We're a little bit over time here, so it's I can't seem to hit 30 minutes. I can be under 30 minutes or over. Look for some more exciting things coming up. I am going to capitulate, and I'm just going to buy another copy of Michael Golden's Marvel Heroes. I'm going to wait and see if a copy shows up in the mail of Walter Simonson's Fantastic Four, and I'll give that a month or two, and if that doesn't show up, I will order a copy. But I know for sure that Ramita Spider-Man Newspaper Strips book will be reviewed and will be early. But then again, that won't be that. Look for that mid-December, because it's shipping now December 26th, which I don't really see how that happens. That's Canada. That's Boxing Day. So we won't be closed, but anyways, it's an interesting time to be shipping a book because all that stuff would ship before Christmas. So your comic shops may have it quite a bit before that. Wait and see. Anyways, all right, thanks, and we will talk again next month.
Let her go, God bless her. Wherever she may be, she can search this wide world over. She'll never find a sweet man like me.